to comprehend and understand, there would be no need or use of reminding if there was no apparatus which kept a thing retained in our memory. The very fact that Allah says "Fadhakkir" means He has created in human beings a faculty which retains memory. And sometimes a person tends to forget. Allah says "Fadhakkir," remind, so that he may recall that which he has forgotten. The greatest asset that we have in the bounty of Allah and the blessing is the memory that we have. Although philosophers believe that the memory is the sure evidence of death, because memory means remembering that which is dead and gone. You are piling it up, the events, the persons you knew, the relatives, the friends, all of that sweet memories have gone. Now they are piled up as dead files. But the very fact that you can recall them sometimes whenever you wish and actually live in that memory and even create and recreate pleasure and even grief of the memory is the proof that Allah will one day resurrect the dead. That means the proof of resurrection is within you. That which is gone yesterday is dead. 10 years ago, 15 years ago is dead. But you can recall it. The way you recall it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will recall it. And the way you can live in the same sorrow and grief and pleasure which you had 10, 15, 20 years ago and actually rejoice in it proves that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it real on the day of Qiyamah. The only thing is this, that we remember that which we want to remember. Man says that we forget, especially these days, the common disease is forgetfulness. You see, everyone complains that, Mullah Sahab, what badam do you eat that you remember so much and we can't remember? There is no special panacea for this. Or there is no special exercise. There are many exercises, but they don't contribute to anything. They just give you a sort of a drill. But that does not make your memory sharp. The memory itself works when you are interested in something or when you love something. I mean, that is but natural. And that which we don't like in life, we suppress it ourselves. You see, some unpalatable experience we have had, we try to suppress and consign it to past. And then we never remember. It goes into subconscious and sometimes even into unconscious level, from where recalling is very, very difficult. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us Himself some assistance in recalling. If you have observed, my friends, certain smell, fragrance, perfume will remind you of your past day. You try, provided you are observant. If you are waya, then I can't help you. But if you are observant and if you are conscious, certain fragrance will definitely remind you of your past. If nothing else, at least of a wedding night. Right? There are certain fragrances which remind you of the past. A friend who used to have a particular scent is now dead. Suddenly you hear the scent and you remember him. Some of the perfume that used to be spent in your school days, now suddenly you get the smell and you remember your school days. This is but natural. But if you are not interested in anything, then you suppress it. The moment we get out of the Imam Bargah, ask anyone, how was, oh, Majlis was excellent, but what did he say? Well, if we knew that much, we would have read ourselves. But tell us something at least, some points. If he remembers some points, that means he had heard with him. If he remembers none, that means he has just allowed this to pass. The argument is that when a boy of our community can remember the name of the actors and actresses in English pictures, in olden days, of course, they used to remember Dilip Kumar, but these days there are new names. Some of the names which you tell them, he will tell you when he was born and when he died, and how he died, and the names. And young ones, I'm not talking about the elderly ones, the young ones. And when you talk about sports and the cricketers and those who have been playing years ago, how much they scored, and elderly people, you ask him what was the price of ghee in 1939, he will tell you. Because he was a businessman then, he will tell you that I used to buy eggs. For 1,000 I paid 1 shilling. How can you remember that? Because his money a paisa. It was money he was spending. It was life he was leading. When he is interested in something, he remembers. When he is not interested, he does not remember. So when you are interested, you remember. And of course you cultivate and you love the subject, then suddenly you find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also helps you. And you can retain. And when you recall it, it comes back. Allah says, فَذَكِّرْ. It's such a powerful instrument that Allah has given me and you, that the government and the ideologies and the idiosyncrasies were shaken because of human memory. The Jewish community today is trying its level best that the world should not forget Holocaust. Whether 6 million died or 6,000 died is beside the point. But they don't want the world to forget the suffering that they have gone through. That is the reason why government is spending millions of dollars to see that that is remembered, that we are the downtrodden, oppressed people of the world. And the Nazis should not be able to survive or revive their activities again because they created so much of torture. Why? And that they bring so many people on the television screen to reminisce and to remember what happened to them 50 years ago. It's a powerful instrument, my friend. That is the reason why Hussein ibn Ali is remembered till today. People don't understand. 1400 years ago something has happened. True. But that is the powerful thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. The moment you remember him, something new, a new inspiration, new spirit has got to develop. If it does not develop here within us, it has definitely developed in the world. For even today, only a year ago, one Arab author from Ahlul Sunnah ulama, right? The name of the book is لَقَدْ شَيَّعَنِ الْحُسَيْنُ ibn Ali. Hussein ibn Ali has made me a Shia. The recent one. The name of the book is قَدْ شَيَّعَنِ Hussein ibn Ali. Ali's son Hussein has made me a Shia. That means there is some power in that memory. And because of that power, my friends, those who are the enemies of Ahlul Bayt, they always try to suppress it. They tell you, no, now it is all over. Why? They should not be worried about it, but they are worried. They are worried because memory has got power and commemoration has got its effect. After the passing away of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one day Abu Sufyan, father of Muawiyah and grandfather of Yazid, the arch enemy of Islam, although he outwardly became Muslim, he had no alternative. But inwardly, he was a munafiq, he was a hypocrite. And he had gone blind, totally blind. With his servant, he entered the mosque. There was no one in the mosque. It was too early, but there was Ali ibn Abi Talib al-Islam in one corner. Mawla Ali was there in one corner. Now this man is blind. And there's a servant there with him. So he said, Hal ahadun mawjood fil masjid? Is there anyone in the mosque. It so happened that the servant also did not realize that in that corner there was someone sitting. He said, Ma ahad mawjood. There's no one. While he was saying that, suddenly Muazzin started. Muazzin started giving adhan. And when he came to Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Abu Sufyan started. He said, Unzur ila ibni Abi Kabsh. Look at this son of Abdullah, that is Muhammad. How he has perpetuated his memory. You can understand how he has perpetuated his memory by keeping his name in adhan, so that 5 times a day Muhammad is remembered. What a kingdom is this! It was paining him. And from there Ali ibn Abi Talib said, Abu Sufyan, it is not kingdom, it is nubuwwah. It is not kingdom, it is nubuwwah. It is a spiritually backed position. This is the order of Allah. Have you still not forgotten hypocrisy and nifaq? Now Abu Sufyan started trembling and he said, May Allah send la'nat upon he who told me there is no one in the mosque. Had I known that Ali ibn Abi Talib is there, I would not have spoken. You told me there is no one. That's memory. And I can show you certain quotation, but it is our Shia quotation, not Sunni, I must admit. That Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha once complained to Amir al-Mu'mineen and said, Ya Ali, I have heard that some of the people, influential people, are trying to remove Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah from adhan. Mawla Ali alayhi salam told her, Ya Fatima, first of all, that is impossible. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ أَلَمْ نَشْرَحَ لَكَ صَدْرَكَ وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ الَّذِي أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَكَ وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. We have elevated, lifted up your memory. This is what the Prophet has been promised by Allah. So that will never go out. But if at all it goes out, Fatima, with La ilaha illallah, Muhammad's name is there forever. Because none has explained La ilaha illallah the way Muhammad is explained. So there is a memory there. And that memory has killed them, the munafiqeen. Till today, wallahi, if they could get their way, they would have removed Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah from adhan. But they can't. You see, you put a few flowers of jasmine or asmini in your cupboard, your cloth, which has the capability of absorbing that perfume, will give perfume for days and days and days, right? But keep it on a wooden plank, it will not, the wood will not catch it. It depends upon where you keep it. Huh? There are people in our community who call themselves Shia. They say, why Rabbi salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammadin sijda, Rabbi salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammadin ruku'. It is only for Allah, Muhammad wa ali Muhammadin namaz. Yes. And Shahid Zaim Fatimi, who was a Sunni Devbandi alim, he told me, I became Shia because I love that namaz in which Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So it depends upon what you are. Either you can absorb that fragrance of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, or you cannot. But the memory is there, and which is being offensive to the people. The reason is this. Muawiyah used to ask people when they came to the court of Muawiyah, because he wanted to erase the name of Ahlul Bayt sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If anyone came with his son, he would ask him, what is his name? If he said Ali, first he would tell him, change his name. Or Hassan, or Hussein, or Fatima, change the name. And if he refused, his name from assistance, if he was getting any benefits as we get benefits here, his benefits, monthly benefits was also erased. That is because he refused to give the name, other name, and he has retained the name Ali. Why? Because as long as name is there, that is the reason why you may keep any name you like. Nowadays it's fashionable to keep unisex name. You don't know whether it's a boy or a girl. Ibn Insha used to be one of the satirists in Pakistan. His name was Ibn Insha, died probably. He said, फुटपाथ पे चलता हूँ, देखता हूँ, दिल चाहता है कि पूछूं जाने वाले तू जा रहा है या जा रही है. फुटपाथ पे चल रहा हूँ और दिल चाहता है कि पूछूं जाने वाले तू जा रहा है या, और बता तेरी रिजा क्या है. You see, we don't know. It's all unisex. You see, now a boy is Kausar. We don't know Kausar is a boy or a girl. You see, because both girls are also known as Kausar and also, and so on and so on. Any name that you keep. But keep name Muhammad. Right? Keep Ali, Fatima, Hassan or Hussein, or the other names of Masumi. Like Murtaza, Mustafa, Mujtaba, and so on. Right? Or the names of the Shuhada Karbala. Like Ali Akbar, Ali Asghar, Qasim, or Habib ibn Madahir. Habib, for example, what will happen? The boy one day, when he grows up, he will definitely one day in his life will try to understand why my father kept this name. I mean, what is the significance? And he will start pondering. And he will ask his mother perhaps, or father, or he will read and find out that there was someone in whose memory, my name is Habib, or my name is Hur, or my name is Burair, or I am Murtaba, or I am so and so. So that is why when the people used to come with their children before Imam Ja'far Sadi Salamullah alayh, he would ask again, كيف سميت هذا? How have you given the name? It means what name? He would say, Ya Aba Abdullah, I have given you the name Muhammad. But the moment he heard Muhammad, now this Muhammad refers to this boy, not to the one, our Prophet. Yet, in spite of that, Imam al-Islam would say Muhammad, 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 Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa. Why? Because it reminds of the name. Muhammad. That is the reason, the philosophy behind. Although the name is old, people are asking for new names. Murtaza Bandali should print name, book of names. Well, he will make money out of it. But the point is that it will be new name. Name which has no relation with Ahlul Bayt, Ramullah alayhi. Sawlat, Hawlat, Kaulat and all that. You see? And if you ask, what I say is that if you keep a good name, well, keep good name together with it. Make a combined name. Kausar, Kausar Ali. If it is a girl, Kausar Fatima. At least we know that now she is or he is somewhere associated. And the name will tell the reader that this is a Shia Ibn Ashari. In 99% cases, the names of Ahlul Bayt are with Shia. That is how the memory is perpetuated. It is very important. We don't understand this. But memory and commemoration and reminding. That is the reason why Shariat says when somebody dies, Fatiha is for 3 days. Now whether we do it for 1 day or for 1/2 day is immaterial, but otherwise Sunnat is of 3 days. But there is a condition there. The condition is that we should not allow during those 3 days for the bereaved family to cook. We should take food ourselves from our house into their house and feed them. We are doing something opposite. We make the ladies of the house so busy that they have to cook for the people who come. and prepare cups of tea, one after the other. This is wrong. What is right is that we should cook. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ did. In the beginning of Islam, when there were not very many companions, when anybody died, the Prophet would turn up for ghusl and takfeen. When he has done kafan, then he would go home and tell one of his wives, whoever was turned, he said, cook extra for that family. He would take the tiffin himself and go to the family, sit there and say, tafadhalu, eat. Right? There should be no smoke of fire seen in the house for 3 days while you are feeding them. After the third day, it's all over. So this is why to commemorate. And to be at the graveside, if possible, for 40 days. Incessantly, means every day. And if possible, to pour water over the grave for 40 days. He kept this for commemoration, not to forget. In Khutbah Jummah, Mawla says, Mawla Amir Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, says, Wa hasrata, how disappointing and distressing when our memory will be erased from our beloved ones also. Means the children will not forget them, will not remember the parents will not remember. We will remember them once. Sometimes even the yearly majlis we don't do of our parents. Now it is 50 years ago. Remember them. It is, for this reason, it is makruh to remind someone of his dear ones if reminding him will distress him. Suppose a young, God forbid, a young son dies of someone. Well, he is distressed. For 3-4 days, people go. After 3 months, I came from Mombasa. And I go to him and say, I'm sorry to hear about your son's death. And suddenly he starts crying. He has hardly forgotten. He has hardly reconciled. I am trying to refresh the wound. That refreshing of wound is makruh. Sharia says, don't go for Fatiha. Why? Because that memory will disturb him. You have done whatever you have done within those 3 days, right? Fatiha. Now if you know that it will disturb him, don't disturb. If you know that he will not be disturbed, it will be only just a simple memory, then you can go. But when the wound is very deep, one has got to be very careful not to go and remind him and refresh the wound. That is the reason why sometimes, my friends, we will find people who tell us, please don't talk about him. Don't remind me. Why? Because he cannot take it anymore. Right? So 40 days. This is the reason why when Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari came, it was the 40th day of Imam Hussain's. He came on 20th of. He came there. He was also blind. He came there to Karbala. And because he was a Sahabi, Sahabi means the nearest companion of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He knew the Sunnah. Immediately he told his servants that leave me alone now. Just guide me to Furat. He went to Furat. Furat was flowing nearby. He said, let me make a niyyat of ghusl ziyarat al-Husayn. He made a niyyah and he made a ghusl. After that he said, give me my ihram. He took his ihram. And with his ihram he came near the grave. There was no zarih, there was no haram, there was only a grave. And he threw himself on the grave and said, Assalamu alayka ya azizi ya Aba Abdullah. Salam upon you, my beloved, O Hussein ibn Ali. And there was no answer. He said again, Assalamu alayka ya Habibi. Salam upon you, O my beloved one, O Hussein. There was no answer. At that time, Jabir ibn Abdullah could not control himself. He said, Ya Habib, Malil Habib, la yujibul Habib. What has happened to the beloved not answering his friend? And suddenly the answer came, Ya Jabir, wa alayka salam, wa alayka salam. The 40th, Tadhkira, right? We are remembering here Marhum, whose name is Hussein Rahmatullah. Hussein is that commemoration of Sayyid al-Shuhada, whose Zakir he was. And the community was totally shaken when a man whose death still seems unbelievable. Sometime he might be seen at the door, at any time he might reappear, he might come, always smiling, always serving. And today we don't have him, and we don't have him among us as if it is a story, as a dream. But he is remembered. He left behind sweet memories. And our Imam alayhi salam said, if you want to judge a man whether he has gone to Jannah or Jahannam, it is in the hands of Allah. But when people speak well of him and miss him, especially mu'mineen, then you must be sure that he has gone into the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? May Allah bless his soul and mouth. We are here to commemorate his passing away. Ya Allah, his passing away is a lesson to us all. As Mawla alayhi salam in Diwan, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam says, there are people bedridden on sick bed living for years, while young men moving about die in hours. Right? We have to take lessons. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless his soul with maghfirah.